Sharp 1 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Karachi Creative's live panel discussion on influencers' point of view on content marketing and influencer marketing. I'm really looking forward to this discussion. My name is Malik. I'm the CEO of High Class Agency based here in Germany. We are focused on social media and digital communications, which include influencer marketing, of course. And I'm really happy that we have so many great panelists and personalities here. And I think this will be a pretty nice discussion. I think we should start with a little introduction. And I would say, Amber, ladies first. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, guys, thank you for having me here today. It seems like a great initiative. I'm Amber. I'm a fashion documenter and a lifestyle influencer. I have been blogging for more than 8 years now, and I go by the name A Wardrobe Affair on Instagram. So basically, I blog on fashion and beauty and lifestyle. I also delve into some community-related subjects and making social awareness campaigns. And yeah, it's been a long journey. Thank you.
A long journey till now and still going on. What about you, Fatima?
Hi, first of all, thanks for having me here. So basically, I am a beauty and makeup enthusiast. Also, you can call me like I am a body positivity activist as well. And I've been in this field for almost, I guess, 6 years now. And my main thing is on YouTube. Like I am mainly a YouTuber, but then I am on Instagram as well by the name of Glossips.
Thank you. Tanya, you go next. Daniel, you are still on mute. Can you introduce yourself?
Should I be speaking right now?
Yes.
Should I continue? Hello?
Yes,
okay,
you go
so
for
my
it.
name is Daniel, and I have been in the industry for like 8 years now. I founded this back in 2012. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I back in 2012 by the name of Metronome. It has around like 440,000 plus of following now, and it is a kind of a digizine that is covering more like a new media company that covers different aspects such as entertainment, arts, culture, lifestyle, as well as around the world as well. So pretty much almost a lot of things. That is
nice. Thank you. Altamash, it's your turn.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for having me on, and I apologize for the lack of video. I watched a movie called Snowden not too long ago, and I damaged my webcam. So that's the story of that. Depending on what I'm doing, I'm either a photographer, filmmaker, or in creative direction. Sometimes doing all the above. Based in Dubai. Been doing this full time since 2017. Before this, I had a completely different career in investment banking. So yeah, just been figuring it out since then. I'm sure we'll learn more as we go along.
Nice. You just switched off your video because you want us to go to your Instagram to see how you look, right?
Yeah, I'm the kind that I'd rather be behind the camera anyway. So that's the photographer's curse.
Yeah. No worries. We have girls here. We have Daniel here, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this discussion. So yeah, influencer marketing is a pretty let's say new topic. I personally came in touch with influencer marketing back in 2016. I don't know what about you guys, and now in Pakistan there is a big market, and I'm really interested to get to know how you guys started. Did you feel becoming an influencer, or how did the switch from being from using your channels as a hobby to earn money? How did this happen? Maybe you can get us. Maybe you can get us some insights on how you started and why you started. Why don't you start, Fatima?
Is it okay if I can answer in Urdu as well?
Absolutely, koi baat nahi.
No, then that's fine. Because a lot of my viewers also understand Urdu better, so I thought it's just going to be easier. अच्छा, so मैंने जब शुरू किया था YouTube, it was not really a big thing. Like, not many people were doing it over here. It was more of, uh, hold on.
Okay, then yeah, you
Yeah, I'm
can
so sorry.
continue.
There was just someone knocking on my door, so I had to run. Yeah, you know. Acha, so जब मैंने शुरू किया था, there weren't a lot of people in Pakistan doing this, and when I actually started it, so it was not something that would actually lead to money making or that would lead to me being here where I am this day today, you know. So it was just something that I really liked to be on camera. I had this really fun relationship with my tools, my makeup, my camera, and as a child even I loved to speak in front of in front of the mirror. So I thought this would be like great to just start, you know. And that's how it started. There was no business strategy or something like that, but now here I am, mashallah. It's a great thing. I have my own business brand by now. I'm an entrepreneur and I work. This is my thing to do now. Doesn't feel like work because I'm doing what I love. So that's how it is.
So, do you think, Fatima, this you answered in English, by the way. Do you think um, to start influencer marketing, you should just do it? You should not have a business plan. You should not have too many thoughts on how to earn. You should just do what you love. Do you think this helps?
The thing is that if you'd ask the same question to two different people, they might have a different perspective to this. Like, I can even imagine this question being asked to my sister and then me. For me, it's like, do what you love, okay? Everything's gonna make you money, anything's gonna make you money. So do what you're actually interested in. I would not tell anybody to get like an entire set, equipment, and all of that stuff. That's what people usually message me asking, that should we invest in a camera, should we invest in this and that, and how much did you put into it? And I tell them, कि भाई just chill out. इतना कोई, you know, it's not really that big of a thing. If you are interested in something, for example, people are interested in fashion, grab your clothes, grab a plain wall, grab a phone, just do what you like to do. Just don't stay inside the box that हमें पैसे कमाने हैं या फिर हमको ये इस तरह से करना है या इसका ये बुकलेट है A to Z. There's one thing about influencer marketing that we are still figuring it out, like all of us. There's no rule book to it. We're still figuring it out one day at a time. It just expands. It's like the internet. Nothing is ever going to be enough and nothing is ever going to be old enough. So that's how it goes. So no, you don't really need a business plan for it. Just do what you love and just don't stay inside the box for being
Right.
creative.
Yeah. Perfect. So just to give a little bit background on figures, what I read yesterday is that 67 million Pakistanis have mobile broadband internet access. That means there is a lot of potential. And Amber, we talked about the potential in Pakistan yesterday in our intro briefing call. Tell us about how you started and how you decided to find a topic, a niche for you. Do you think that did you just start like Fatima, you were into fashion and then you just posted pictures, or how did you get started? You are on mute now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Amber. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So, I started off back in 2012, and frankly, back in the day, there was very little sort of like even a concept of what blogging is in Pakistan, and I'm talking about all categories, even including tech bloggers and people from other categories as well. So I had a couple of friends who started delving into tech blogging, and blogging was a thing. And there was a surge of sort of, people sharing their opinions on digital media. And so it just started off sort of like a passion project. I was bored. I thought this is something new. I could just, spend. I used to read up a lot, about Indian bloggers actually, and I used to follow a lot of international bloggers back in the day. There was a sort of like a surge of opinionated bloggers and websites coming up, so I thought I'll pick this up. I had too much time on my hands anyway. So and the passion and the interest has just grown along the way. I'll be honest, I was never too much into brands and fashion and the overall fashion community at large, but then it has evolved, it has grown along the way. And I believe initially it was just something I used to do on the side, but as it has grown and as as the following kept increasing, and as I got like really good feedback as well, um, and obviously with the platform getting bigger and bigger, I realized there was a huge potential for marketing. I realized how print media and some of the traditional forms of media did not have that kind of impact and voice in terms of marketing. And then obviously the shift happened so suddenly. The audiences shifted to digital platforms, and then social media came in, Instagram came in, and the boom was so immediate, and the effect was so massive that it was hard not to consider doing this professionally. So yeah, I think a couple of years ago, I realized that this has the potential to be taken up as a full-time career. And so I've seen like a whole journey of the industry from a point where this was not, considered like a valid sort of like a platform or a career option, to a point where now I'm actually pursuing this as a full-time profession.
Awesome. So started from scratch and now having a full-time job in doing what you love. Yeah. This is the perfect Cinderella story. Yeah. Daniel, yeah. You are one of the few
Yes.
Who are not in front of the camera. You started with Facebook, have a following of 440K. Why did you start? Did you see there is nothing like a metronome, and you wanted to do it yourself, or what has driven you?
Okay, so it starts back in 2012. I was in my engineering days, and I was really struck with all those boring things and stuff. So I had this friend who was a musician, and back in time we were into that music and hard rock music and all that kind of stuff. So initially we decided to form a music platform where we can educate and talk about music and all those artsy things happening in our university and stuff. But back in time when he moved out, I gradually took over, and I realized, man, this has a lot of potential. And I took this more further. I didn't really started that as an influencing platform or something, but as a venting space to talk to people about music and entertainment and stuff. And back in time when I was 19 years old that time, so I used to follow these magazines of like Vogue and Cosmopolitan and stuff like that. तो इंटरनेशनली सीन ये था कि इफ यू हैव बीन फॉलोइंग द फैशंस एंड लाइफस्टाइल मैगजीन्स, वो बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स करके लिखते हैं, इतनी लाइक ऑल द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट इंग्लिश दैट यू वुड बी फाइंडिंग इन दोज fashion tabloids and magazines. So my idea was like to give a platform to talk about all these things in such a way that would be more accessible to people. So we started off with music, culture and art, and then it is still there, और फिर हम लोगों ने उसको expand किया. And then my friend parted way, and I took that completely over the charge of it. And it's been like 8 years, and we are going really strong. And now we have a very diversified thing. So showing the face was never really a part of what I actually had in mind. It was basically a space that I wanted to talk about music and my heart out. And that's the passion is just has cultivated so many following and so many authentic lovers from around the country. Yeah. I guess so,
this is something different because from my point of view in Pakistan, people try to run in front of the camera whenever there is a camera in nearby, right? So this actually shows that there is a quality behind your work, and you should be really proud of it. Same probably goes for Altamash, right? From being a photographer and now having a 36K following on Instagram. How did you see your career? Let's call it a career. It is a career. How did you see your career grow? Maybe you can drive us a little bit through your history.
Right. Yeah. So for me, I just come from the creator side, and obviously I never intended to be a photographer back then, or even influencer. That's a problematic word for me. because I'm not really sure what I am at what time. But I was just a guy going around with an iPhone taking pictures, and then mainly posting on Instagram. And my following started growing. I joined a community here of other photographers and started hanging out with them, and that sort of helped my network. And then one day, I get an email from a company that's saying, "Hey, can you make some images for us, and we'll pay you this much?" I was like, "What? You can get paid for this stuff?" And yeah, and back then I was still doing my investment banking job. I was like, it'd be cool if this could actually turn into a career. And I started taking up small gigs like that. Brands would reach out here and there. And then in 2017, I was landing like bigger contracts and like bigger clientele. And then I hated the banking job anyway from the start. So then that's when I took the risk of quitting that and then doing this full time. And at that time, I didn't even have a camera. I think I remember when I got my first job. They're like, I asked my friend, like, these people think I shoot with a camera. I don't. I just shoot with a phone. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. A lot of learning. Pretty happy with the brands that I've worked with so far. I mean, I went from shooting iPhone and now I partner with Apple on a few projects. So and I'm still learning. Like, it's still so much to take in, and now we have the new environment with COVID. So it's always adapting and going forward.
Yeah, COVID is a good word because we are all sitting here thanks to Karachi Creatives. They started these panel discussions during this lockdown situation, and as we can see, I think we would never talk if COVID wasn't there. Because now we are using opportunities, we are seeing opportunities like all you guys did, right? You have seen a market, you have seen your hobby and your passion, and you just did what you love. I really love this summary. And yeah, Atama, you already told us about your first gig, but guys, maybe Fatima, what happened to you when somebody offered you to pay for what you love? What happened with you?
Okay, it was actually outside of social media where I understood that okay, makeup can be a thing. So I was in university, I think first year, and that's when I used to dress up every day and just come and I used to try these new looks every day, and people would be like, "When do you get the time to do this?" And I tell them, "I don't know. I wake up to do this. Like I wake up in the morning and I take up time because I love to do this." So this person, he actually called me out and he was like, "Hey, listen, there's this model shoot happening. There's basically this makeup photo shoot happening, and we need you to do the makeup." And I was like, "Okay." Then they're like, "Okay, we'll pay you 20K for that." And I was like, "What? You're gonna pay me 20K for makeup? I mean, what? Okay." So, because I had been doing this a really long time, right? And I was like, okay. But then that was just the start of it. When I actually got my first gig, it was on Fiverr. I'm not sure if you might know of it. Fiverr is actually there's this what do you call it? There's this source on which you upload gigs, and people pay you a certain amount, and you do a certain task for them. So my gig up on Fiverr was that I will create a YouTube tutorial for you, and people used to come up to me. They used to purchase my videos and for different products and stuff like that. I used to get paid like $20 per video, and that was so much for me. That was everything for me. I never really thought that YouTube would start paying me like that, but yeah.
See where you are right now. Yeah. Daniel, what about you? You are using Facebook as a platform, and what about your figures? I think we can frankly talk about figures. What happened to you, and how are you working with brands?
Okay, so initially, when I was talking about all these things, the music and stuff, it was a slow start. But when I progressed it to few other areas such as film and art and culture and all those things happening around us, so then the following was compiling together. And eventually, I'll be very honest. In the starting 4 or 5 years, I didn't even knew that there would be something like money involved behind all this until I was sitting this day with a very renowned influencer. And he asked me about, "Yaar, तुम्हारे कितने पैसे होते हैं एक sponsored post के? And I was like, यार वाकई पैसे भी होते हैं इस चीज़ के? So that was probably his question led me to get into all these things, and I was like, okay, I should explore this out. And then फिर उस चीज़ को evolve किया, and then gradually I remember it was 5 years back, 2015 or something, when I got my first gig, when I had around 150K of followers or 100K of followers. And then the things came just on. And obviously as far as you're talking about the kind of brands I have worked with, I mean, the list is it's something that I just cannot even calculate, because I have had the opportunities of working with MNCs, to telcos, to automobile and stuff, because I believe that I didn't really stick to one niche, that was music. I diversified into multiple things. So I am cool with food as well, I am cool with almost, I have worked with automobiles and clothline apparel and everything like that. So probably that is why brands do usually approach me, because I'm not confined to one single niche. And I think this is I consider as a plus point for me, that I'm not restricted to one thing. So
Okay.
इस तरीके से start किया था.
Acha. Altamash, what about you? You are a photographer, and so brands come to you and they see your quality from your Instagram, and they ask you to shoot their products, or how does it work?
Yeah, so that's how it usually works.
Mm-hmm.
Portfolio is basically my Instagram account whenever anyone asks. That's how I'm being discovered mostly, 99% of the time. But you also get into a situation where I love cars, so I'm shooting cars. But also I did something recently with Audi where not only was I directing, shooting, and it was a collaborative effort between us to promote a new car, but there was a storyline, and it was more about me as an influencer, as a creator. And so we put out a video together, and it did really well. So it can be both things. And I mean, from that, I get a lot of jobs from them, but nothing to do with social. Like, it's just like press kits and very commercial stuff. So there's that side of the business, and then there's also the online personality side of the business as well.
Okay, interesting. Amber, can you hear us? No, I don't think Amber can hear us. I wanted to know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Amber, tell us how you are working with brands. So they approach you via email, they approach you via Instagram, and how do you handle them? Like, are you negotiating yourself, and how do you calculate your proposed income? How do you work with them?
All right. So, wait, sorry. I think I can hear myself again. If you can mute. I think I'm connected at two different ends. Can you hear me?
We can hear and see you.
Okay.
Now we cannot hear you anymore. No? Now we can hear you.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, yes, I'm fortunate to have worked with all the major sort of like even fashion houses and designers and retail brands, and even tech companies and mobile companies, around Pakistan, and some of the even international brands, that I've worked with. So your question was with regards to how they approach me and how I go about it. Obviously, the medium to reach out to me personally would be Instagram, because that's my primary platform, and that's where most blogs, most businesses and brands and people follow me. So they connect with me through Instagram, but I encourage brands and businesses to obviously take all business dealings over email, and that's where I route them further to take on to discuss further details. What I've done as a business, and to sort of organize my work is that, and this is what I would like to share with budding content creators as well, and brands now also are mindful of this, that everybody has a media kit. And I believe it's very important for people to develop one, not just to showcase what you've done so far and to be able to tell them where you're coming from, what's your following like, what's your process is like, what your tariffs are like. I just feel like it comes across as a professional thing when you have like a one shop kind of a place, where people can just go have a look, instead of you communicating over emails and explaining this to them and over phone calls. I believe as you grow and the more partnership you have, it becomes increasingly difficult for you to educate people from scratch every single time a person approaches you. So it always helps to have like a media kit, where you can obviously talk about what you've done so far, what are your how you work, and what options people have in terms of how they work with you. For example, I primarily work on content collaborations, and I'm a content creator. So once a brand comes to me, I basically help them create a campaign designed around their product or their service, and what I feel will be very unique, original to my voice and my style of content as well, without making it look like it's just something I'm endorsing because I'm getting paid for it. So I have to find a way to make it look, as if it's something that I'm also, that's something that I would like to use, or something that I'm personally fond of. And frankly, that's also the kind of partnerships I pick up. Like most of the times, if I actually genuinely feel it doesn't resonate with my personal style, and if it's not something authentic, then most of the times I also don't take it up. So most of the times I'm also working with brands that I personally feel strongly about, and that resonate with my style or my choices.
So this is something pretty interesting, because I think as many people in Pakistan are taking influence marketing and Instagram as a business, they want to pick everything what is inside of this kind of business, right? And as you're saying, the more you grow, the more picky you can get. Yesterday in the briefing call, we talked about the switch between social media and classical or print PR. Daniel, what about you? You are in the market for like 8 years now. Is there a
Yeah.
connection between your platform and classical and print media?
No, not really. We are just active on digital spectrums for now. So, but I have had the opportunities of working with print as well. I was working with a couple of newspapers and online publications and print publications as well. But I haven't really, as such, collaborated with them through Metronome directly.
Gotcha,
It
okay.
was in different
Fatima, what about
capacities.
you? Would you model for a magazine?
As long as it's a magazine that is supporting curvy people or plus size, sure.
Hmm. So you still see that there is a huge market, and you should not exclude print and classical PR, because it is actually traditional media, right? Yeah.
Definitely. There are a lot of people that still only read newspapers and magazines rather than just going on to,
Mm,
the phone for
mm,
social media. There are people who dislike screen time and they like
mm,
reading time more. So I guess it's there, but it's evolving into something that might just end by the end of it. Not
hmm.
sure, but
Okay.
it might. Because we all have it in our phone
Yeah.
right now.
Amber, why should a brand prefer you instead of an actress?
Okay, so you see, the thing is that we live in an age where, I understand there's this growing need, and then there's a desperation almost of sorts to have more followers and to build a huge sort of like platform. But coming from, the people who are working at Instagram themselves, and people who are, who are part of these organizations and who are spearheading social media, is that it's so much more about the power of influence now, than it is about numbers, because like we were discussing yesterday, if your campaign or your content is not translating to conversions, both in terms of brand awareness and in terms of sales, it is of little value to a brand, frankly. um, and sometimes because of a celebrity's persona and their star status, your product may not get picked up, or it might get lost in translation, because at the end of the day, it is very ad like. It seems a little too manufactured, and a celebrity is not heavily invested in your product or in your service, right? So you might, work with them, you can pay them to talk about, something, but you know that they're a celebrity and that's how they work, and they get paid for it, and they're just going to sell something, and then that's it. An influencer, I believe, is obviously more relatable. They're more authentic because they create content, first of all, themselves in their own unique voice. The ability to influence and the ability to share, talk about a product or a service in depth, is there in case of an influencer. Um, and secondly, I believe that, again, it is more important to know who your audience is and what is the niche that you're operating in. So for example, if I'm a brand, and if I sell a beauty product, I would much rather send it to Fatma and to other beauty bloggers, because I know that people who are interested in beauty products would follow Fatma's advice more than they would follow, like, let's say, Mahira Khan, because I know Mahira is just, doing it because she's a celebrity and she's been paid to do it. But then again, I trust Fatma's advice, or I trust beauty bloggers' advice, and also they give sort of like a very real life sort of look into the product or the service. So I believe that it's, for me as a brand, if I was a brand, I would much rather pick smaller, pockets and of opportunity in terms of niche content creators and niche influencers, instead of going for one big celebrity, and the product or the message getting lost in this pool of, likes and followers.
Yeah. So the conversion from influencers is much more higher than from actresses and actors. Of course, they might have higher reach, but the higher the reach, the less people you can reach, actually. Also, thanks to Instagram algorithm and so on. So talking about figures, I have some good numbers. Let me tell them. 60% of customers would consider purchasing an influencer promoted product if they see it in a store. And this is something you just said. It is, you give them, you give your community to be part of your life. They feel that you are that you are their friends, and they really trust you. And trust is something which is pretty essential for influencers. And we have a question from the audience. Altamash, this is going to you. If there is a company coming to you and you know the products suck, how do you handle it?
I just straight up say no. So I get lots of emails on like phones. Please partner with us and like take photos with the phone. But there's also a thing of like brand loyalty. I don't think we've discussed that too far. But I mean, I just literally tell them I'm with this brand right now. Unless, I mean, maybe I'll be happy to test it, but I'm not going to start, promoting it and all that. So I think you have to be choosy. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, do you really like that phone? No, you don't. You know it sucks. So just stick to.
So you're testing every product you are promoting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it has to come naturally. Like, I like Apple, so I'm very happy to promote them. I'm happy to test their product. Same goes for like for me, I get a lot of questions regarding what gear I use for my photos, so cameras. And I'm a Sony user, so I'm not gonna be. I've had Canon, I've had Nikon approach me. I'm like, I'm very happy with the system, and that's what I push onto my platform. But also a lot of these brands, they want to see like real ROI now. I feel like it's just not good enough to have a following, a verified account or whatever. So what I did with Sony was I partnered with them, so they would give me a code, a discount code, and then my followers or whoever here can go and actually buy lenses and cameras and whatnot using that code, and then they actually have a metric. They can actually see conversion. So I feel like we're kind of moving from great, he has a lot of good following and just gives a shout out on stories, but now we want to see if that actually goes into the store and actually converts.
So we are moving from trash to quality.
I think it should always be about quality, but yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes it's not. From my experience, there are let's check out Huawei in Pakistan. They are sending their mobiles to everyone. Everyone is using Apple and iPhones, and still all these actors and actresses are happy holding the Huawei phone in the camera, right? So
Absolutely.
this is something I really don't like. As you said, it's about brand loyalty, and the best case is that you are using Sony, and soon in the future, Sony approaches you about your quality of work. And this is the win-win situation and the most essential thing you can do in influencer marketing. The brand you love, the brand you feel, and the brand you work with is coming to you and is approaching you. Right. So this is something I hope the transition is still going on, and I'm really looking forward to the conversion of influencer marketing in Pakistan or in general. Daniel, now tell us, you are not in front of the camera, but why should a brand, a company should approach you, and how can you help them promote their products? Are you working on short-term products or short-term projects, or are you looking into long-term partnerships? Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about this.
Okay, so I work in such a way that there are many brands and many agencies who have lined up with me for the yearly contracts, and then we have startups who do approach me on a monthly basis, and then we do have brands who just come up with campaigns and all that. So the things do work differently in my case. And why do brands need to approach me is because a lot of people have told me that um, one of the major reasons why I became too much popular in the social circuit is because of my conversation style. If you have been following my work or anybody else's, so they would really understand that I do not use all those very difficult advertising jargons or marketing jargons, or I write in a very pop culture tone. So I think the brands really look forward to my the way I talk about brands, and the way I take things into a very storytelling. So I think this is what brands attract me. Whereas I also do know platforms who have been working in this space for the longest of times that I can remember, having more than a millions of following and stuff, that I also spoke about yesterday. But they are pretty much same, like कि भाई हमें लिखना विखना नहीं आता, हमें बस आप जो चीज़ भेज दोगे हम उसको उठा के लगा देंगे. So I believe there is एक होता है content creator, एक होता है content curator, और एक होता है content poster. So I am not the poster type, and a lot of brands in recent times have also approached me and saying कि यार हम आपको जो भेज दें तो आप वो लगा दें, क्योंकि brand manager जो है वो approve नहीं करता. So I was like, yeah, you need to tell your brand manager that there is this certain sort of audience that are looking forward to, see my style. It's pointless posting a soap ad just like, कि आपको अच्छा कर देगा, ये कर देगा, वो कर देगा, just because the brand manager has approved it. So I think the reason why brands come to me is probably because of my style and how it resonates with audience. That is what distinguishes and differentiates Metronome with other people as well.
So again, quality wins.
Quality in a very pop culture tone.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Fatima, is there anything you regret working with the brand? Maybe you can tell us a little insight. Is there something you can share with us?
It would be a little scandalous though, but do you still want me to go ahead with it? Maybe
Absolutely.
a little?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you might have heard about the brand Wheat. I mean, it's everywhere. I'm sure you know of it. So I signed up a project with them, I think a year back, and that was for one of their, you can say, trimmers. Okay, like a lady's trimmer for your eyebrows, for your facial hair, and anywhere. Okay, so the thing with me is that I do not publish about a certain product until I am not satisfied with it, until I've not used it a lot enough to just tell someone to go and purchase it. Because see, I got it in PR, but people are going to have to spend their money on it, and that should be something that's coming from my recommendation. So it should be something that they should purchase. So I worked with them, and the product was pretty cool. So I gave a very nice and positive review. But then eventually, when I was testing out a few other of Wheat's products. So I came across the wheat waxing strips, and that has actually turned into a really big scandal on my channel. I don't know why, because um, there were lots of people doing it, okay, and I was running out of content. Let's be honest, there are days when you just start like, "Kya post karu yaar?" Like, okay, then let's just try this, you know. So that was one of the day, and I was like, let's just wax my entire face because hey, yeah. So I just did it because there were lots of people doing it and being like, oh my god, like best product in the world, and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, then I did it, and I burnt my entire face, and I was like, I had a rocky road on my face. I had next level wounds on my face, and it was all in front of the camera, and I obviously showed it, right? So that was when everyone just started coming in like, oh my god, you've worked for the brand previously as well, and this time, you're saying this, and I'm just like, bro, it was honest both the times. It's a different product, but it's still honest. So I got out of a lot of those projects that they had to sign me in for, like Wheat had to sign me in for a lot of upcoming projects, a lot of upcoming things. I see a lot of influencers getting into it, but I'm obviously not a part of it because
So they called you and canceled all the contracts?
not really. There were no contracts. There were never contracts prior
Okay.
to signing you in, but they did call me. Like they didn't call me to the newer ones, and that's when you know it
Okay.
because when you see the
Understand.
same people there, you know, okay, you're not a part of it.
Yeah, but you are not unhappy about it because if there is something with the quality you don't support, then you should not be unhappy, right?
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I didn't hear about that, but it's interesting. Amber, is there something you regret? Fatima gave a great example. Is there something you can give us insights into? Like, is there you wore clothes and the clothes gave scratches or something?
Yes and no. I don't have one big story like Fatma's to share. By the way, I did follow that story on her page, and obviously, I felt horrible about it because as an influencer, I could relate to the fact that you're in the middle of sort of like a campaign and it ends up so bad for you that on one hand you feel aggrieved, and you're obviously the आपके the skin खराब हो गई और आपको गुस्सा भी आ रहा है, and at the same time you're like you want to talk then about the honest review, but then you're holding back your thoughts as well because obviously you don't want to badmouth or get into controversy. So it gets really difficult. I understand where Fatma is coming from. Well, in my case, I don't have like Allah ka shukr, no, universe don't get ideas from this, but I don't have like a big story to share. I did I did a campaign for this product which is for feminine hygiene, and it got let's just say it got mixed reviews because once I did it, people started saying that so half of the people felt that these were not that they're dangerous and they're harmful for the body, and people had a different point of view, and then some said that we've personally used this and it's fine. So it got like a bit of a backlash, which I was sort of okay with. But speaking of regrets, I think it's not so much a regret as it becomes a problem working with certain brands and businesses, and more often than not it has to do with their professional dealing, their timely payments, and stuff like that. So for example, I work with all the big retail brands of the country as well, and some of them, in fact, there have been times where I've been chasing them for months and months, and it ends up sort of like in a bad sort of like a situation, and in a bad taste, where then I have to sort of escalate levels and start figuring out who to talk to, and so it does happen quite frequently. Let's say when once every while there will be one brand who will give you like a really tough time, and you will regret why you took this partnership on because they're bad with their communication and their commitments. But yeah, so but it's not so much. I think that is just something that I hope will improve with time.
So is this something? Some of the biggest issues in Pakistan, Pakistani influencer marketing branch, the missing professionalism. Just to give a we talked about PR lists yesterday. There are from everywhere they are popping up companies who are working in influencer marketing, and let's join our PR list. We can help you promote products. And as Fatima said, there are no contracts with influencers. Do you think professionalism is missing, and do you think that professionalism will come soon, Amber?
Sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
Do you think professionalism in the Pakistani influencer marketing branch will it come, or do you think companies don't take influencer marketing that serious that they would like to offer influencers contracts? For example, contracts.
I don't think there is a problem now of brands not taking influencer marketing seriously. I don't think that is the problem. I do think that they understand the need for it, and they give us the due, respect and space that we need. However, the problem lies in how they operate themselves as an organization. So, for example, if influencer marketing is important to them, they've not figured out that we need one point of contact who will be dealing with the influencers. So a lot of times you start getting approached left, right, and center for the same brand. There'll be one person from one PR agency contacting you for the same campaign, then another PR company will approach you for the same campaign, then someone from the marketing team will approach. So they've not structured the whole process of how to approach, how to communicate. Even in terms of like how you communicate, I believe that is something that people need to teach. They need to align within their teams, that you will not reach out via DMs, and you will not call after certain working hours. How you approach people, to ask them if they're free to talk, ask them what's the best way to reach out. Construct a nicely worded email. I receive so many emails every day just saying, please share details. So that is where the problem lies, where people haven't been educated in organizations on how to approach this subject properly. And even now, I get so many requests from even established brands to do something for free for them. And I'm sure Fatma can relate, or Danyal could relate to this, that gone are the days, frankly, where you request people to continue to do free marketing for you guys, and they understand how this works now. So I believe that there's a lack of structure, there's a lack of education, and how to actually approach this, how to approach influencers and how to construct this whole process. And even in terms of payments, for example, if you feel that your payment system is that of 90 days or 120 days, I'm sorry, no influencer is going to be willing to work on those timelines. So you need to discuss this internally, how to make this beneficial for the other parties involved as well, and to sort of streamline your payment processes in a way so that there are no surprises, that I'm being told at the end of, like, let's say 1 month, that, oh, our finance guy just left and something happened and now you expect another. Yeah, so that happened. This one time this person said, hamare finance wale hajj pe gaye hain. So I was like, okay, Mubarak ho, but unki jagah kaun hai? There has to be some person who's working. So that kind of a thing, where I feel like, there's too much of back and forth and unnecessary delays and those kind of things. There's a need for structuring the organization.
And now that Amber scared away everyone who is interested in influencer marketing, Daniel, why don't you tell us how should someone start if he wants to become an influencer, or if he wants to do what he loves? Can you hear us, Daniel?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Amber scared away everyone who is interested in influencer marketing. Why don't you tell us how should a young guy, a young girl start his or her career if they are keen to do influencer marketing or content creation? What do you need to become an influencer?
Okay, so yeah, I think first of all, the most important thing that anybody needs to know is कि आप influencer. You just cannot become an influencer. You know, you sleep one day and you know the next day you become an influencer. I've been seeing so many profiles with people having 400 and 500 followers telling that they're influencers and DM for collaborations and stuff. This is not how things work. I think one of the most important things that people need to have is to understand the consistency and that when you are coming into this, just don't come this because you get paid for it. Just don't come into this category just because you get free lunches and dinners and pictures with celebrities and stuff. Just come to this when you are actually very true and honest about that. If I talk about myself, I literally never dreamt that one day I would be waking up and seeing 100 and 500,000 people would be listening to me one day. I just started off because I wanted to talk to about music with people and stuff. I still am very much adamant about that as well. And I think अभी मसला ये हो गया है कि everybody is looking onto these people who are very credible and they think and fantasize their lives. यार अगर मैं influencer बन जाऊंगा मुझे भी बहुत अच्छे अच्छे designers कपड़े देंगे. I would be getting into different parties. I would be getting into this. So I think you need to stick to your own roots, and rather than a trail chaser, be a trend maker, be a trail maker, because that is very important. आप अपनी originality lose ना करें. आप वो चीज करें चाहे कुछ भी करें आप मतलब uh, I mean, I know this person who blogs about gardening, and he has a very good following. And I haven't really seen people talking about gardening and plantation and horticulture, because that is something he's very passionate about. So I think first find your true passion, create a niche, be consistent, because there are many people I know who start blog, who design stuff and stuff, and after 2 months, 3 months, they go like, "Ab main aur kya lagaun?" So you need to stick to your it. I mean, it took me 8 years. It took Fatma a couple of years, and Amber, all these people, so many years to be there, having so much following. So I think consistency and staying true to what you love is one of the primest keys anybody should have in mind if he or she wants to start a career in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't call yourself influencer. People will call you influencer if you are an influencer. So
I completely agree on that.
Yeah. So this is something I tell my clients and my brands. If they want to work with influencers, they should never choose anyone who is calling themselves influencer in their bio. What also is pretty important is to connect with other influencers within the niche. That is why we are sitting here, right? Karachi Creatives brought all of us together, and you can join the LinkedIn and WhatsApp groups, Facebook as well. Connect with them, connect wherever you can. Try to talk about innovations, trends, and educate yourself. Altamash, there is a question for you, a pretty controversial question. As you have worked as a cryptocurrency influencer in the Middle East, how have your Middle East tourism department clients reacted to it?
I have no idea where that came from. I just read it down on the description myself. I think I mention it sometimes because I have my my finance background, so that comes out sometimes, and I've sort of drifted towards cryptocurrency. So once in a while I get a DM like, what do you think of Bitcoin? And let's just buy one and get over it and forget about it. But I definitely do not consider myself a cryptocurrency influencer.
Okay. Here in Germany, I really use Instagram very intensively. And there is a trend going on. I think everyone calls themselves businessman, businesswoman. Please join my Facebook and WhatsApp group. We can work together. We can make business together. And they are having their nice watches and big cars. And this is also something coming from, I think, the cryptocurrency niche. So yeah, interesting. There are coming some other questions. Najma is asking if it affects your brand if you're not from a main big metropolitan city. So can you become an influencer as well from villages? Amber, what do you think? Sorry, Fatima, what do you think?
You definitely can. I am actually following this person who lives in, I think, Meerpur Khas or some place like that. And all he does is he posts videos of himself cooking. and he has sponsors that love him. He has millions of followers. And a few days ago, I was actually having this chat with my mom where she was like, "Oh my God, look at this person. He used to live back there, and now look at him. He has like an entire house built up with his YouTube money and all of that." तो पहले तो एक चीज़ मुझे ये ऐड करनी थी उस कॉन्वर्सेशन में जो हम पहले कर रहे थे, that people actually think that YouTubing or influencing to nahi chale, I'll just say YouTubing or being a part of the social media is going to make you lots of bucks. It does give you bucks, but in Pakistan it does not give you lots of bucks. Like, it does not make you Jeffree Star, and it does not make you all of those people ke aap ghar khade karo and all of that. So I
Can you
really
tell us
want to
about?
share this one.
Can you tell us about what was the biggest gig you had? Maybe you can. You are actually open to talk about these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So what was the biggest gig?
I've had some really big gigs. Like, I can't really say which one was which, because the thing is that with certain brands, I only charge them the same thing that I would charge another brand. So I won't say that this was the biggest gig, but then I would count this as one that I worked with this brand, Bioderma. You might have heard of it. It's a sunscreen, and it's actually manufactured by Uniferose, the one that makes Saniplast. So I worked with them, and they took me to Dubai. I was actually supposed to take care of a conference call over there. I was to learn about sunscreens, and that was one of my biggest gigs till date. Like, the one that I feel like I achieved something. So yeah, that was one of my biggest gigs. But then the thing is still there, that people still argue on the fact that YouTube we will join for making money. And when I keep telling people that this is not for money, this is not something that's going to, make it's not. It just seems very glittery, very glamoury, but it's actually not like that. You have to work really hard to come to a point where you can even make some bucks out of it. It's not really that easy. It took me 6 years to even come to this point where I can say, "Ke chalo, I have a good enough pocket money." But to be very honest, I feel like people on YouTube really just earn from all the endorsements that they take on board. They don't really earn solely from YouTube. At least that's the case with me, that I don't. Although I have lots of videos that go to millions, there are lots of subscribers that I would have as well, but still, that's not how it really works.
Okay, interesting. Also, a good example is my cousin. He is, I think, 14, 15. He started with TikTok, and he's uploading videos every day just for his fun. And suddenly one of his videos went viral with 2 or 3 million views. And suddenly he has 17K following. I don't know if he doesn't speak English, by the way. So he's just doing what he likes. So TikTok is a good example. Are you guys approaching your career strategically? Are you signing up for every new platform if there's something coming up? Are you trying to see if this is something for your community, and maybe for businesses as well? As TikTok is a good example. There might be a new app coming soon as well. So are you guys doing this strategically, or are you just focused on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube? Daniel, maybe you can tell us about this first.
About getting into TikTok as a new marketing avenue?
TikTok, for example, or if there is some other platforms coming up. Are you the first who signs up, or are you just hesitating and seeing if there is something you can do, or are you signing up immediately?
Actually, I do actually follow a lot of other things as well, because I mean, a lot of people have questioned me why, despite such a huge following, I'm not yet within Twitter. And one of the prime reasons is because I just don't want to be there. So I before getting into the nitty-gritties of it, I personally first think about my comfort level with brand, with the social platforms first. And that is why I haven't made a YouTube yet. I haven't went to Twitter yet. So I personally, I'll talk about myself. I personally look about what's more comfortable to me. So if now talking about TikTok, अगर होता है इस तरीके से, so I do not definitely see myself there making videos and stuff for brands there.
Okay, sure. Interesting. Babar is asking a pretty interesting question, Amber. How do you respond to requests from skin whitening brands?
Sorry, how do Umar Fatma respond to collaboration requests from skin whitening brands? What do they okay, so I'll talk about it from a general point of view, rather than just talking about skin whitening brands. So I think, like I said before as well, for me it's very important to know what's my higher purpose to be on social media, and what's my higher sort of responsibility towards the community as well. Sure, I can walk away by earning a few bucks and hold a product in my hand and show people this is what you want to buy, but firstly, I have surpassed that stage, even in my career where I would take up opportunities just to make a few more, bucks. I'm fully aware and mindful of the responsibility I have towards the community at large. And anything and everything that I'm endorsing, first of all, has to be authentic to my own self. Um, so if it's coming from an inauthentic place and if it's looking too manufactured and fake, frankly, I won't take up that project to begin with. Um, I do see a lot of new content creators sort of making that mistake, and frankly, the kind of environments that we live in now, we live in this call out culture now, and we sort of have to be very mindful of people being extremely resentful and vengeful, even. So you have to be a little more careful in terms of the brands that you choose to work with. Um, Not only from a point of view where you don't want to look inauthentic, but also be mindful of what exactly you're saying and why you're saying it, what's your higher purpose to be on social media. So, for example, for me, I realized that I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to 150,000 people every day. And if this is an online conversation that I am having with them to use a product that I fundamentally sort of don't wear myself or want other people to use because it's dangerous for the skin, or if it's a product or service that I actually can't relate to and don't want to other people to use as well, I won't be a part of it. As far as them removing the name is concerned, I actually think it's a good thing, frankly. I mean, to give credit where it's due, it's been long coming. If the brand has realized that is just something that needs to change, and the brand needs to be more inclusive in its approach towards beauty, good for them. Good luck with that.
Okay, nice. So yeah, 1 hour is over. I think there is still a lot of potential for a second round. Karachi Creatives, this is a hint for you. First of all, Karachi Creatives, thank you for inviting us. It has been a pleasure for me. It's really interesting from a European point of view to see how Pakistani influencers are approaching their career and influencer marketing itself. Thank you to our panelists. I really liked it, and I just want to summarize what we talked about. So we need more professionalism in the influencer marketing sphere. If you want to do influencer marketing, don't approach it as a business. Do whatever you love. Find your niche, and if your quality is good, your community will grow. And as soon as your community grows, brands will approach you. So, guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it as I did. I hope you are up for a second round. Thank you. Take care, Khadafis, and I hope to see you soon.
And thank you, Karachi Creatives. This was a great conversation, and I really hope to do this another time. Thank you again.
Thank you, Karachi Creative. It was a good one. Good to speak to you guys.